Hey everyone, welcome back. Yes, we've been gone for a while. Welcome back to the Big Fitness Show. I am Big Stevie Cool, although we'll talk about that. I was smaller than this man before. Now I'm at least 35 pounds, maybe a couple inches after all the spinal infection damage. We have Big Mike Behrens with us in episode 7, man. It's been 2 or 3 months at this point. How have you been?
I've been good, dude. It's been a minute since we last talked on an episode of the Big Fitness Show. Welcome back, everyone. We are excited to be back with all of you. Excited to be back talking to everybody, and I'm especially excited to be looking at my buddy Big Stevie Cool right now. Even though he's not as big as he once was, but he'll get back there in no time. I firmly believe that. So it's good to be back and talking to everybody and pick up where we left off, basically.
Yeah, we hope people had stayed subscribed. We don't blame you because usually when you subscribe to podcast or even some of these video versions, which is available on the YouTube channel, it's going to be available as well on the Big Mike Barron's channel as well. You know, if it's not coming through your feed, we understand that people probably unsubscribe, but hopefully you can give us another chance or even go back, resubscribe. Check out the first six episodes, which have a great deal of positive feedback, and it really motivated us to do more of those. But the spine infection had a different plan for me at that point. So I have to apologize that I killed all the momentum. The infection almost literally killed me.
Yeah, you don't have to apologize at all. I think people that are listening and that were subscribed to the podcast and watching it on the YouTube channel, I think we need to recap what's been going on and why we took a break at all, because I think most people will understand, given the fact that your infection literally almost killed you. So that's a good enough reason. If there was ever a reason to take a break from a show, I feel like that's a substantial reason, but maybe not. Other people might not feel that way. If you don't feel that way, keep it to yourself. But I believe that was a good enough reason for us to take. So maybe recap everybody what's been going on with you for the last couple months, and what that has been like for why we took a break and all that good stuff.
Yeah, number one, if I could have sat here across from you, each and every week for the Big Fitness Show, I would have, even if
Mhm.
there was an hour where I was spared the excruciating pain of this infection, but it wasn't. It was a 24/7 thing that happened very suddenly, but wasn't suddenly. It was just basically traveling very slowly. But once this blood infection or bacterial infection, they're not even quite sure just yet, even post first round of antibiotic treatment. They're just not sure of the source. They're surmising that I did get a dog bite about at this point 10 months ago, before this all started creeping up. And then, another fact that came up, and I didn't even think about this until I talked to the Mayo Clinic doctors. Right after I got bit, I got COVID.
Mm.
So they're thinking now that it was a mixture between the bite. They sealed and stitched the cut, which I think that it might have been sealed too much, which you can seal an infection with
Mm.
animal bites like that. So there might have been I was susceptible there. But then even a few days after the bite, as it's healing, I get a pretty bad bout of COVID for about a week. So we're surmising that maybe the infection was able to, work faster or go further with
Mhm.
my immune system, at war with the COVID. And then it
Sure.
was just dormant and kept moving and moving through the bloodstream until it hit my spine. And when it hit my spine, man, it hit my spine out of nowhere. 9 a.m. workout, one of the best workouts I've ever had. So that was the jinx was in right there. Then by noon to be relegated to a walker where you can't even hold your legs up, not being
Sure.
you got a paralyzed situation, but just weak because the back is so spasmed and seized up and locked out all at once that my legs just I didn't have the strength for that. So we were on a first of all just trying to figure out if it's just severely out, trying to figure out if my back, we were talking off air about
Yeah.
wrestling careers and your body hits the wall. So if
Sure.
there's ever a spot that's going to hit the wall, it's either your neck, which I've already got that out of the way. I got that surgery in my 20s, or your lower back, which is like for anybody that either sits at a desk, anybody that hinges, anybody that, has any impact on that spine, like we do as wrestlers for decades, you eventually expect, yeah, I'm probably going to have to have a fusion eventually. So that
Sure.
was my initial thought, my wife's initial thought, that it was going out for the past year and now it's finally hit the wall.
Yeah.
But every time we went to get an MRI, a CAT scan, or a CT scan, or anything, or went to anybody that was based in the, spine issues, they said my spine, besides the normal wear and tear, looked fine.
Sure.
So, but the pain had increased 10, 20, 100 fold.
Right.
No sleep, losing weight, losing muscle mass, not being able to eat or do the simple things like dress myself, go to the bed, essentially being bedridden for 2 weeks, where my
Yeah.
wife had to take care of me. You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
not a proper shower, not washing my hair, all these little things you take for granted. And then finally went to the emergency room, then went back to the emergency room, got admitted. I think that's going to be a future episode that we're going to do about how the medical system is truly broken. And
Yeah, we can talk about it.
but that can lead to a lot of people living very unhealthy lives or very shorter lifespans or doing other things because they're not afforded
Sure.
any access, much less access to quality healthcare, because the market, and we can get into deeper detail on an entire episode, the entire market seems like a big racketeering extortion scheme.
Sure.
You're
Sure.
looking at a Zoom appointment that lasts 5 minutes and they charge $604. When you have a
Right.
doctor that pops in and asks you how you're feeling, and it's $1,235, and five of them come within a day.
Yeah. Sure.
There's no benefit to that. So
Sure.
I guess we already started that episode now, but so
Yeah.
we were getting progressively worse, meaning I was, but my wife was also right there next to me.
Sure.
And we went to the Mayo Clinic and we had begged and pleaded with them to get us in. At first, they said March 22nd at the time. We're talking early to mid February, I think, or somewhere around mid February. They said, no, we can't get you in for another month or so. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to survive.
Sure.
It's been 2 to 3 weeks at this point. So Mayo Clinic got us in, and then when they saw me, the doctor, the spine guy, and then they had an interventional radiologist, which I never heard of that anyway.
Yeah.
He saw me in a wheel. Now I'm in a wheelchair, dude. I'm in a wheelchair. I'm no longer. I can't hold myself up on a walker,
Yeah.
and I'm not comfortable in this wheelchair. Uh,
Sure.
so they put me. They admitted me. I mean, upon first like glance at me, they admitted me right away at Mayo Clinic, and they went to work. And I have to say, I credit them along with my wife and whatever else you believe. We know what we believe, but
Sure.
there's a lot of elements, both tangible and things you don't see, that
Sure.
contributed to me being alive today. They saved my life.
Sure.
So to have my wife's persistence, and also to have the Mayo Clinic's persistence to not think, let's just give them a fusion because that's where the pain's coming from. They had to look deep into that and brought other people in, like infectious disease, because the pain and the weight loss and there was a couple of symptoms that kind of leaned towards infection. And then they
Sure.
literally saw an MRI from the week before at the previous hospital, and then they took their own. And just in that week's time, my L4 and L5 were being eaten away. So it must have hit me and then started moving very quickly from there. So they got me on very powerful broad spectrum antibiotics in the hospital after
Yeah.
performing probably the most painful spine biopsy that I've ever
Yeah. I remember
experienced.
you. I remember you
Until I
texted
got
me
this,
about
until I got the
it.
second one, and that was right up there with the first.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, if anybody's out there is due for a spine biopsy, I already got two, so I've done yours for you. But the good part about that was they were able to get a DNA level type of diagnosis with smears and stains and stuff and infectious disease to let it grow. So they put me on the broad spectrum antibiotics, and they put me at home with ones, and obviously you saw in the video they put me in a PICC line because it's the quickest way to get these antibiotics in,
Right.
especially with the spine, because they were surmising or assuming that this was going to be a lot longer because the spine has the least amount of blood flow. It's going to be hard for the antibiotics to get. So for every bit of the infection, all the time it took to get to my spine, they were assuming that the antibiotics would take just as long, that it would be
Sure.
weeks, if not months. And thank God it took 6 weeks before my blood work and my pain level were at a point where I could do what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
They cautiously put me back on IV antibiotics at home because there was more damage to my spine from the infection. However, from the time they took the MRI, the most recent one in the Mayo Hospital, and then 6 weeks later, after the treatment was supposed to be over, there was a lot of damage. But
Yeah.
now, how can I say this? Now, 2020 hindsight, they're looking at it and hoping that most of that damage, if not all of it, was done during the 2 to 3 weeks where I still couldn't walk after treatment started. I still couldn't get around without a cane or without a
Sure.
walker. And then all of a sudden, when it killed it 3 to 4 weeks in, I'm able to walk, I'm able to move, I'm able to do more things. So that's what I'm hoping for. We have a follow up coming up in May, another scan to see if it continues. But clinically, if I can sit here with you, if I can work out, if I can do cardio, if I can even bend over and put my shorts on and my socks, then they believe that the infection doesn't look like it's trending to come back. So we're just crossing our fingers with that.
Yeah, no, man, that's crazy. For anybody who doesn't know and hasn't been following along with Stevie on social media about his journey and recovery journey, like check it out because it's something to see. It's kind of an inspirational thing to see what he's gone through over the last couple months. I mean, he's been texting me and keeping me updated on what's going on. So I know the story, most of the details that all of you just heard. But if you haven't heard, go check out his social media and see some of the stuff that he's posted about, like the being able to walk again. It's crazy to think that, you relearn how to walk, and it's pretty inspirational to see where he's come in the last, the last month. Just the progress you've made, dude, has been awesome to see. And it's super happy. I'm super happy to have you here with us now so that we can do this again. It makes me super happy to have you. And I was pretty grateful when you texted me. He's like, hey, you ready to do this again? And so like, it's cool for anybody listening, anybody watching this right now. Definitely go check out some of the stuff that Stevie has been through just to see the the journey that he's on right now and this recovery journey, this road to recovery. Obviously, he's not completely recovered all the way, but it's such a drastic difference from the guy that I've known for years and followed for years to see what you had to go through and what this infection did to your body and how much weight you lost and stuff. And it's really cool to see where you're at now. And I just, I encourage you to keep going because I know you will, and I know your wife's pushing you, and it's just awesome. So thanks for sharing all the details, as many as you wanted to. Anyways.
Well, I appreciate that. And a lot of good has come out of this, and it's hard to see that as you're going through it. There's no one thing that I'm going to mention here that supersedes or trumps one or the other. I think they're all evenly
Sure.
kind of like beneficial. Number one is the fact that we kind of tend to go, and like I say in all the videos, you can believe whatever you want to believe. We know what we believe in,
Hmm.
and you get caught up way too much with worldly things. You get caught up way too much with the negativity and toxicity. And that's why we wanted to start the big fitness show, so we'll be truthful a lot of things because there's a lot of false things going around, and especially in the fitness industry. And that's why we wanted to start that. But we also want to bring a level of positivity, want a level of inclusivity where nobody ever thinks that there's a dumb question when it comes to fitness. We don't want people to think that we're ever going to talk down or talk over their heads. We are
Sure.
very much fitness 101 type of advocates. We like to keep it simple, and we like to pass
Hmm.
along, hopefully, common language or common sense language when it comes to that. So, what happens is too, like, you get caught up with so many different things. And, I admit that, like, there's a lot of times where when I did fitness stuff and everything, I was trying to perform in a lot of ways with exercising or looking a certain way or anything like that.
Sure.
I kind of lost a little bit of sight of the mission of what I wanted to start Stevie Richards Fitness on, which is all based in serving others and humility. You
Sure.
know, and like this whole thing put me back to being more centered in what I would consider to be a service based or even a faith based type of mission statement that I have and that I believe you have with the brand Big Mike Behrens and everybody you work with.
Hmm.
but also our friendship too. Like we were always cool and everything, and even when we started the show, but to be able to be vulnerable enough to cry with you over the phone or talk to you and
Sure.
see the emotion, and then for us to tell her we love each other and we're there for each other and everything. And that goes
Hmm.
for a lot of people that maybe like, hey man, I haven't called and checked on this person a whole lot and made sure to take that effort to do that. And that person, we became better friends for that. And of course,
Yep.
my marriage, I mean, through sickness and in health, my
Yeah.
wife far like overachieved. I can't even think of a word stronger than that.
Yeah.
Showing that she was there, and you want to talk about like, like I said in the video, the what happened video. There, there's so many times where people thought I was a machine, and they think that now because of going right back to the gym after the pick line
Sure.
test. But they thought I was a machine or I was just some unattainable thing, which I never wanted people to think that. I wanted to. When I said if I can do it, you can do it.
Hmm.
But maybe my actions were so they needed to be scaled back in that 101 type of fashion. So in a way, in a lot of ways, the infection it scared the hell out of me, but also showed me that like you need to think about these people when they say I have a lower back issue and I can't do anything. And it says, hey, yeah, just get up. You can do something. I mean, that's usually the way most people who are physically fit and never been through something like that. It's naturally like you can't discern whether these people are just scared to push themselves or if they're really having
Sure.
issues. So I would now err on the side of I will treat this person as if they're having issues. I will have way more modifications within videos, and I will try to speak to these people. And also, it's a whole nother category of content with rehabilitation, recovery devices, things to help you come back from that type of stuff. But getting back to my wife, very much more importantly, this whole infection, and you saw it in the video where I became very emotional, and you
Hmm.
could see the fear and the emotion in my eyes. I believe I was scared. I was saying, I can't. I was terrified. I was crying. And my wife, I'm sure inside she wanted to cry right along with me and be upset or just hold me. But she saw that we need to have solutions now. We need to move forward. I need to be the person that's the strong one that's motivating, him to get out of bed, to use the walker, to be able to get out of the cane. Because I was afraid. I was like, I can't get up
Yeah.
because I hadn't been able to in so long. So
Sure.
I give I give her all the credit in the world because she was about as I mean, she might have cried every bit when the door closed and I wasn't around, but when
Sure.
we were interacting with each other, it was smiles, it was laughing, it was just encouragement. You know what
That's
I mean?
great. That's great, man. That's good. It's so good to hear. And you kept sharing that with me that, she was being such a strong rock for you,
That's the
and that's
inspirational. That's the most inspirational thing people can say about me, you know, and getting up, showing the first steps, now documenting every step of the way. But I told her, I go, you don't have to be on camera because, I don't even us. I don't know anybody that really loves being in front of a
sure.
camera. But I go, you either need to at least have a voice behind the camera because you are the reason this is all happening. One of the
Sure.
reasons, the faith, and like I said, we believe in what we believe in, and I prayed every single day, multiple times a
Yep.
day. You were praying for me.
Hmm.
She was, other people, and I have to tell you, once that started, and people kept saying it, and it was put out there in the universe, even before the antibiotics felt like they were taking shape, I could at least feel like I was in that positive direction. And that's
Sure.
all I was praying for at the time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, man. There was definitely a lot of goodness being sent your way. I had still wrestling, doing a few shows here and there, and I had a couple fans come up to me and just tell me they've been thinking about you and hoping you're doing well and asking about you and stuff. I had one friend in particular, Katrina. She came up to me and just was like, we talk every time I see her. She was asking about how you were doing and all this kind of stuff. So everybody was definitely sending all the love your way, and it's good to see where you're at now. And I think one thing too that I would love for you to share, because you shared it with me about the shape that you were in, and if this perfectly ties into kind of our mission, is just having like a baseline health and wellness for people, and kind of sharing people that, like you said, that if you weren't in the shape that you were in, or if you didn't take care of your body like you had been, this infection could have been way worse. So can you share a little bit about that when the doctor said that?
Well, the doctor said it, and you have your assumptions that like, okay, this could have been a lot worse if if the exact time, if I didn't have even cardio wise, which we can get into that in future episodes, because I think I can see that even doing the excess cardio over the past 2 to 3 days, that I'm starting to store a little bit of belly fat. It's starting to, no, I'm just, I mean, yeah, they can think,
Yeah.
but I noticed that a lot of, but there's a lot of, I have to rethink my whole fitness journey. But the doctor did say multiple times, he said, if you weren't in the shape that you were in, this infection would have took hold and traveled much faster and also went a lot further. And you can take that for what it's worth. And I said, do you mean like, all the way? And he goes, yeah. He goes,
Mm,
because once it gets to your spine, you don't know where this infection is or what it takes hold, and it can go right up to your brain, and then it's game over.
yeah.
So
The
that's pretty,
sobering thought.
yeah, it's sobering.
Yeah.
I don't drink anyway, but it's
Well,
sobering
sure.
real quick.
Yeah, man. No, I think just the whole journey and the whole experience for you is just going to make what we're trying to do here with this show that much more impactful, because now, like, there's, like, we're the goal behind what we were going to do with this, and our plan was, and our mission still is to share our experiences. And now you have a whole nother experience to share with people that you've been through, that you've gone through. So when you say, if I can do it, you can do it, I mean, it is real now, and you've got proof of the infection, the video to show of you first on a walker, and now, progressing back to getting healthy again, and getting to the point where you can work out again, and you're going to be a cardio freak again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be proof in the pudding. And also, like, I think with the baseline level of fitness that is going to help people live healthier every single day by sharing your story. And the more we can share, and the more you can share with people, I'm excited for your continued journey and continued rehab, and getting back to on the road to recovery, right? And I'm excited to continue to watch, because it's inspiring for me, and I think a lot of other people as well are excited to see how things progress for you. So keep sharing it.
Thank you. And, we can touch on that in a second, but there's always a chance, like in back of my mind, I'm fearful. This could have a couple roller coaster things that could
Sure.
not quite be gone. Hopefully, that it will be. Obviously, the road to recovery. When people say, "Okay, well now you're walking, now it's done." Well, no, I still have
Mhm.
oral antibiotics for a while. We got to monitor the side effects of that. We got to monitor my blood work. We got to monitor with scans to see. But then, even if all that stuff is going as planned, essentially my back, I talked about the fusion earlier.
Mhm.
Well, I need a fusion now, but they're just going to do it naturally. So these
Yeah.
bones need to fuse over the course of months, which would be basically right in line with if I got cut, they fused it with hardware and then they take it out later, like they did with my neck. So I'd rather have it this way because, obviously they don't want to cut me.
Sure.
Once you get cut in your lower back, you're never really the same. And somebody said to me, one of the doctors, that once you start getting cut, you never stop getting cut. I think
Mm.
Hogan's had probably 20 back surgeries and has that shock device or stimulator. And there's a
Uh,
whole different, like, I'd rather just switch my modalities up, use isometrics, do yoga, do some mobility work, and let it fuse as time goes on. So
sure.
that's what I was saying earlier, and we can talk about how much, another idea for an episode is how, uh, pros and cons of cardio. Like too much cardio can be,
Yeah.
depending on your goals. I think there's a lot more things functionally that I can do that can put me forward, that can work every bit as better as cardio. I mean, instead of putting myself on a recumbent bike, which right now, because of my lower back, the recumbent bike is a good solution to keep my back from, to keep it strong and stable. But swimming instead of hopping on a piece of cardio would probably be more beneficial to my entire body without the impact.
Sure.
It's things I'm
Sure.
learning as we go along. So, um, and that's why I reached out to you too, because I wanted another set of eyes to look. Remember, I said, hey, if you think of anything,
Yeah.
a regimen standpoint or a plan that, I'm not going to do any clean and jerks or fun
You're not getting
squats.
into CrossFit right now?
No, no. Yeah, this is a good time. My back's already broken. So why not get into CrossFit?
Uh,
Can't break my back any more than it is. And CrossFit would be like, oh, my
well,
free
like
workout.
eventually it could be good because a lot of the mobility work and the movements, if scaled properly, uh, could really strengthen your back in the right way. So maybe down the line we can get you into CrossFit.
It'd be an excellent video for us to do together with you
Yeah,
showing CrossFit. I wouldn't mind coming
sure.
out there during summer months, not in the winter, but I'm in Florida now.
I,
I'm not seeing
I
any
have
snow.
58 today.
Oh, that's nice. But yeah, I look forward to, and that's the thing too. Like, it's taught me so much about even with the show. Like I was nervous when we started the show. I want it to be good. I want you to not feel like you're wasting your time doing it. And I want both our brands to obviously grow from this, but it's just a fear of the unknown or out of your comfort zone. But this has taught me no matter what I do, no matter what I try, no matter if it's isometrics, if it's water weights, if it's CrossFit, if it's whatever it is, it's still better than laying in a bed in excruciating pain, not being able
Mm,
to do any of these things. So it's all going to be progress that way. Um, Also, it's you're talking about what's really important and not important. I've looked at all the stuff, like even like the things that I review on the channel or the two garage gyms. We talked about this. It was like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm going to try to expand the business, but now I'm looking at it like, okay, all these different brands and all this stuff going on is great, but am I splitting all this focus? Am I half-assing the content? And can I be a better storyteller, a better editor? Can I do more quality videos on less brands because these might be the brands people want to know about? These are
Sure.
all self-assessment questions that we ask ourselves and each other each and every day. So there's a lot of changes that might come, and some people might be like, "Hey, I like this better," and then we'll just pivot and do those things.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So how
Yeah,
have
I
you
think
been?
it
What have you been up to?
nobody cares.
Yes, no, I care. I care.
What's been going on with you has been way more important. And like yeah, I've been good, man. Like it's last couple weeks or a couple months really. When was it's been, I'm looking at our YouTube videos. It's been 2 months since we last uploaded a video. And it's a, a lot has happened in the last couple months. I'm starting to put out some content on my own channel, trying to educate people about supplements and trying to do more and be more active there. I know you and I had a talk like a week or two ago about just like my fear of not being good enough and not doing it and fear of getting out there and doing it. But I just kind of said, suck it up, dude, and start posting stuff. And so I've posted a couple videos this week, and so I'm working on that. Been working on some stuff with some gyms with X Endurance to get uh the brand going a little bit more back in the gym space. And so I've been busy with that. Kids are uh just being kids and being intentional with time with my wife and having great time there. And been wrestling a little more. Just won the tag team titles a couple weeks ago for the indie promotion that I work at. And yeah, man, that's pretty much what I've been up to. Just working away.
Got to check that out. It's still on Instagram. The video of you dumping two guys over at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I had a pretty cool moment in the time that we were in a break. Like I've been working for almost 20 years now. I'm coming up on the 20-year anniversary of my first ever professional wrestling match. And it's kind of a cool story, and I'll share it. But the couple weeks ago, we wrestled at a building in the Quad Cities. So in Moline, Illinois, WWE has shows there all the time. They have house shows there. First ever house show I went to was at the Mark in the Quad Cities is what it was called at the time. And then when I got into being a wrestler, the Monday Night Raw was coming to the Mark, and I wanted to get tickets. So at the time I was, I don't know, probably 18, 19 years old. I wanted to get front row. So I went the night before and I camped out and was going to camp out the night and be there first in the morning so I could get tickets when they go on sale and whatever. And over that night, I met some guys that had a little wrestling promotion. It was called SCW, and they used to wrestle in a barn. Like they literally built a ring in a barn, and they were in the process of buying their first ring. And I'm like, dude, I want to wrestle. And at the time I was in college and I was on the track team and I was a thrower. So I was in good shape and I was big like I am now. You know, I wasn't as big as I am now, but I was in pretty good shape. And they're like, yeah, you're a big dude. Let's do it. Well, we ended up hanging out that entire night. Nobody slept. We stayed up all night long. And in that crew of people was uh, Seth Rollins and Merrick Brave and Shane Hollister and just a whole group of guys that are, if you're a wrestling fan, Google those names, you'll know who they are. But I met them all that night. And then a couple weeks ago, the Mark is now called something else. I don't even know what it's called, but they were SCW, still runs a promotion. It's been 20 years. Merrick Brave is in charge of the promotion now, and he has the wrestling school, Black and Brave, with Seth Rollins. And so, like, anyway, all that to say, they were having a show at the Mark, and I got to wrestle at that building where I had got into wrestling, had watched my first show. So it was just a really cool full circle moment to be able to like come back and finally wrestle in the building. We didn't wrestle obviously in the main area where WWE would. We were in just one of the banquet halls, but still, it was pretty cool for a little indie guy to be able to have that full circle moment of watching his first ever professional wrestling show in the Mark, and then meeting some of his closest friends in the wrestling business, for people who he's been friends with for 20 years, and then getting to wrestle in that exact building. And then afterwards, there's a gazebo or whatever you want to call it that we spent most of the night in. We played cards all night long, and I went over and just kind of had like a little like gratitude moment where I just kind of soaked it in, and it was pretty cool. So that was like the not the highlight of my last couple months, but that was a really cool story that's relevant to what we're talking about over the last couple months.
It's awesome, man. And I hate when you say just an indie wrestler because you're a worker that put just as much in. Everybody takes the same bumps. It might be in a
Sure.
different ring, in a different city, in a different part of the building, but the bumps all hurt, and the miles and the money are all real and the same.
Sure.
So
That's fair.
I'll
That's
try to
fair.
change you. You try to change my language. I'll try to be self-deprecating in case people didn't know by episode 6 or 7. But yeah, man, I'm proud of you. And the 20 years in the business, especially you were like right in the flux of it, going from like I was kind of at the tail end of that era when I stopped wrestling full time, but
Mhm.
you were right on the edge of like learning how to work and then going to a more scripted, restrictive type of performance type thing. So
Sure.
it's hard.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
that's awesome. I said I would if I was going to come back once, it would probably be the tag with you, but I
Let's
don't
do
know.
it.
I don't know about
I don't think your back's gonna hold up.
spine infections and blood vessel tumors and stuff. We'll have to get all that stuff fixed first. Can you imagine? I was going to do a show right before this thing kicked in, like the week before. I
Oh,
had
really?
to back out. It just kept postponing it for a fundraiser for
Yeah.
Matt Morgan here in Florida.
Oh,
Finally
okay. Gotcha.
postponed it twice, and then I just said no. And it was supposed to be like late January or mid to late January was the show. And can you imagine that would have accelerated whatever?
Sure.
Or
Sure.
I probably would have thought I took a bump and I wouldn't have got up. Which
Yeah,
is
and then
interesting.
you wouldn't have gone to the hospital fast enough either, because you'd have just been trying to let it heal, and it probably would have delayed things even more. So
And
yeah.
that's every. I mean, some wrestlers probably want it to happen that way, but that's every wrestler's nightmare to have something bad, life altering happen to you in the ring.
Sure.
Not just breaking your leg or, you know what I mean, getting a stinger, but when there's always that chance you can get paralyzed or your spine just gives out or anything. It's crazy.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
like I said before, very thankful to be here and with you. So, I think the real question next to that is like, what about moving forward? What do you think? I mean, we have this kind of renewed type of reminder and focus to kind of, put out the content that we want to. But what do you see happening with the episodes from this point forward?
I mean, I really think this gives us a even greater purpose behind what we're doing. Having to the pause, like you kept texting me and apologizing for not being able to do the show, and I was like, dude, it isn't going to matter in a year from now that we missed a couple weeks. And honestly, like the break, I think gives us a better perspective on how much this means to both of us to be able to do this and to have this time together to talk and to help impact other people. And I think it will just renew the purpose and the mission behind what we're doing to where we're even going to be a little more uh intentional, I guess would be a way to say it, so that we're trying to help as many people as we can. We were gonna before, I mean, that was the plan. The whole plan here was to share our experience to help other people live healthier every day. And we've over the years have accumulated a lot of knowledge by, taking care of ourselves, and then also training other people, helping educate other people. And I think this just gives us that much of a perspective, like you were talking about the perspective on just life in general. You're grateful for so many things. What was once seemed like an annoyance, or maybe not the easiest funnest thing in the world to do, is now no big deal because it's way better than being bedridden in a hospital for weeks, right? So it gives us both a better perspective on what we're doing so that we can be more intentional, so that we can bring more value to people. And I really think this is just I don't feel like we lost any momentum in the 6 episodes that we've done so far. I think we're going to pick right back up where we left off. And I think the show is just going to be exactly that. We're going to try to help people live healthier by sharing our experience, sharing what we know. And there, like you said a little bit ago, there's no stupid questions in fitness, because everybody's at their own journeys and you don't know what's going on with anybody else. Somebody might have a spinal infection, somebody might just have a hurt toe, somebody might just be in a wuss, right? Like you don't know what's going on with everybody. But I think having that perspective will help us just help more people. And I think as far as the show is concerned, I think more topics. I think question and answers, like having people email in with questions or comment on the YouTube episodes with questions, leave us voicemails. There's different things that I think we can do to just continue to bring more value with a even more intentional perspective on everything. So
Yeah, I forgot. People definitely need to take advantage. We want to hear from people. So within anchor.fm, if you look at that, there's a link on StevieRichardsFitness.com, as well as on the Big Fitness Show playlist on my YouTube channel. And when Mike gets it up, the description have the links to subscribe. But also, if you go to anchor.fm, you can leave a voicemail, or you can just email one of us directly, or even message on social media, comment on the YouTube videos. These are the ways that we're going to be able to present that. Although we are both tempted to overproduce the hell out of this show. We're I have all these things I show. I got a Yovox Pro, like I want to do a fancy opening. We'll get there. It'll be fun to do, but I think we're just concentrating on quality content and just leaving it at that. But yeah, the whole thing with being intentional and trying to be reminded that what we're really doing this for. And to trust me, dude, like I'm sitting in the very chair where it all started, when I couldn't get up out of the chair on that Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. Every time I sit in this chair, every time I lay in bed, every time I sit on the couch, there's a part of me that's still like, should I have the cane close by in case I can't get up?
Mm.
There's a lot, like that's the one thing, like I asked my wife, because I still get emotional. I still cry a lot when I think about that night, especially when, it was very much touch and go. I talked about that in the first hospital. And the reason why I don't bring it up is because we're still trying to get everything, like as far as billing and everything. I don't want to make
Yeah.
sure legally that everything there gets sorted out, which it looks like it will.
Sure.
And we ended up at the Mayo Clinic. So why stick to something so negative and toxic in the first stage of this? I only want to concentrate on, we got it done right. This is where our energy is going to be, and let's just get better.
Right.
So when I refer to the first hospital and that night in that hospital and touch and go, Mike, I'm not exaggerating how close it was at that moment. So
Yep.
thank God my wife was there. Like I said before, it would have been, I wouldn't be here.
Sure.
There was stuff going on that was that bad that night. But there's a mental and emotional aspect. Spiritually, I feel like I'm stronger. feel
Sure.
like I'm more centered and focused.
Yeah.
But mentally and emotionally, man, it really hit me hard and it scared me.
Yeah.
It
I
still
bet.
scares me. It's still something that maybe 10 years from now, I'm going to be still thinking once in a while in the back of my mind, man, is that going to come back? I got a cut on my hand or I got bit or something happened. Like the
Sure.
freak out moments of that, it can definitely, but that's all about overcoming that, or even just saying these things, Mike. Maybe somebody just like the videos that I've been putting up, they don't have to feel like they're crazy or alone, or they don't have to
Mhm.
feel so hopeless that God forbid if they're in that much pain or if that low, they won't do anything stupid or crazy.
Totally.
So okay,
Totally.
because I wasn't to that point, but there were points where I was just like, is this going to be my life?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a life anymore.
Sure. Sure.
Burden now, not only to whatever I got to do responsibility wise, but I'm a burden to my wife who has to work her whole schedule around just watching me writhe in pain, not even helping me, just to make
Sure.
sure that I don't fall or I don't. And I did fall a couple times.
Sure.
So it was a dug and bump. It didn't matter. I just landed on my hip and then just kind of
Yeah.
died. But there's been there's been a point where I'm looking at my wife thinking I'm an absolute burden. She never
Sure.
thought that, but as
Yeah.
guys, we want to be the ones that are taking the trash out, doing all these things, and she had to take it all on for 2+ months.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm like, I'll take the trash. I'm happy to be able to grab the trash bag, pick it up out of there without much trouble, and
Sure.
then you'll find it's funny. I walk to the dumpster now because number one, I'm very appreciative that I can walk.
Yeah.
But after my car was sitting there for 2+ months, it's it's dead.
Oh no.
It's dead. And I thought it was just a dead battery. And my car's
Yeah.
finally hit the wall, which I can stand out there and MF this and MF that, and it's a terrible day. And I'm like, I'm here. I'm able to
Yeah.
do whatever. And what if this is the worst thing? And I don't even drive the car that much. I'm trying to change my mindset like that.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
don't
I
want
think
to.
that's one of the things that situations like this, all you can do from them is learn and keep perspective on it, right? Like you learn and grow and become better and become stronger. And if you don't, then you go to a place that is so so negative, so just a dark place, and you can totally destroy everything, like destroy your life if you don't learn and grow from it, right? And so like every every situation that happens, I feel like they're lessons to be learned, right? And one of the things that I take away from this experience with you is that I brought it up earlier because it really resonated with me that if you weren't in the shape that you were in, this really could have wreaked havoc on you and could have been potentially fatal, right? Like, and so just that right there is a baseline motivation to take care of your health every day, to impact other people, to help other people live healthier by your example and lead by example, because you had this whole scenario happen and your fitness is what saved you, so to speak, right? In a way. And that's what gave you the foundation to build from. And I think always, as much as you don't want to think about, oh, this could come back, and you don't want to let that wreak havoc in your mind, you don't want to let go of it either, because you want to keep like that perspective of, oh, it could be way worse. And I'm so grateful to have this. And I think living from a place of gratitude with everything moving forward is a lesson that can be taken away from this whole experience for you and for me. I know it's impacted me a lot because as a husband, as a father, like that burden piece, I don't ever want to be that. And I know how hard it is, like it, because I've had moments where I was kind of a burden, and you just want to live from a better place and have that every single day of uh man, I don't want to do that. And so it just pushes you and motivates you to keep you moving and keep going and be the best, healthiest version of yourself and take care of yourself. And if we can then translate into helping other people live that way, I think it's man, everything happens for a reason, right? And I think your story and your experience is just motivation for both of us to continue on the path that we're on and try to motivate other people and try to help other people take control of their health and live healthier every single day.
Yeah, and those are great points too, because the one thing I forgot to mention about this whole thing about even health and fitness. Now, as you know, on the outside, my body was strong, and I'm sure my heart was strong from doing a lot of cardio. But this also taught me that I was ignoring the internal element of everything, because I could have the muscle, I could have whatever physical fitness level I had, but if my immune system isn't good, if my internals aren't working properly, if
Sure.
my blood work isn't good, I'll just look like a long-haired hippie with muscles in a coffin. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that's what it taught me, that I needed to, because the motivation, once I was able to get the pick line out, and I was able, even before that, to try to build up my immune system, because the antibiotics are definitely going to wreak havoc on my body as well. Sometimes the treatment has just as many side effects as the
Sure.
actual illness or the injury. So I have been, getting out of my mind about, all this carb depletion stuff, and even the fad diets that we talked about. Now just straight up trying to get as many probiotics into my body, because the antibiotics are killing my gut flora, or have killed it off, at least
Sure.
for now. I got to figure out a way to where my joints aren't aching, because I'm stiff anyway, because I haven't moved from being atrophied. So
Yeah.
the isometric workouts might not be sexy, but I need them to activate everything. The sand dune stepper might not seem like a whole lot, but the fact that I hopped on that thing and started activating the muscles, getting my balance back, hitting my lymphatic system and all that stuff to try to flush the toxins out. These are very important elements that I almost ignore, because cardio and weights, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
need to change it all around,
Totally.
because I don't,
Totally.
it sounds really weird to say, but I have to keep reminding myself that you have to stop caring about the way you look. It'll be
Mhm.
a side effect of what you do, because
Sure.
it'll just happen. But when you
Yeah.
concentrate on how you look, you're not, it's just like life. If
Yeah.
you're paying attention to all the style and the materialistic stuff and everything, you ignore all the substance that's really long term and important to really have a fulfilling life.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
lots of different things. I'm tempted. I did too much cardio today and yesterday, and I could have done yoga, but it's what we're always struggling with. So
Why doesn't that surprise me that you did too much?
uh, I had to find out. I had to see
Yeah.
if I would get winded. I mean, I sweat.
Sure.
It felt good of not being allowed to sweat for 8 weeks.
Sure.
What's
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Not being allowed to sweat, having to sit on that couch. If I went out for a walk, I had to make sure it wasn't hot, because if anything, God forbid this thing gets infected, you can kind of still
Right.
see the remnants of it. But
Sure.
but yeah, that's why I'm not big Stevie Cole anymore. I'm 181 pounds, small, medium, S/M. Well, that doesn't sound right either. Uh,
No.
but I
Medium,
don't.
medium
Hey,
Stevie Cool. We can call it the medium fitness show moving forward
I
until
know
you get
how
back
I
to
know how to lose weight now, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Key
It's
to
not a good
keep
way.
that secret. So that's about all. I mean, obviously, this explanation isn't as detailed or as long as we talked about earlier as the what happened video. That one there, it's 37 minutes long. I understand it's very long, but I did timestamp it with chapters. So if you
Sure.
want to skip ahead, you can. But I have a lot of people in and out of the business. You wouldn't believe how many people that I honestly thought were so self-absorbed, and this is where we can all change. There are wrestlers and people within sports entertainment or entertainment in general that have to be self-absorbed. Like you were talking even off air, where you talked about it off air and on air, that if you weren't as mature, had the perspective you have now,
Mhm.
your home life would have been completely different if you
Sure.
embraced the wrong things.
Sure.
That
Sure.
might have given you a reward right away, but for
Yeah.
long-term fulfillment, I don't even like to think what my life would be like right now without the people like you and my wife and everybody else in my life.
Sure.
Pretty
Sure.
empty, so um, I forget what I was going to say, but there's been people that have reached out who I thought they wouldn't even, and they didn't back in the day,
Yeah.
the time of day when we were in a locker room, but to reach out and say, man, I saw it, and I'm really just sorry if if they say if you need anything, and I believe that if you need anything, man, I'm here, or you just need the fucking vent or whatever it is, you can do that. But just people doing that was really good.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's good that it makes you think to reach out more now, hopefully, like check in more. It sucks that it takes you getting sick, but the fact that they reached out at all means that people still care. And I know people get busy and you lose sight and stuff, but it's good to have people reach out and show that they do care and that they are there for you and stuff. So
Well,
that's
those are
good.
the
I'm glad.
people. Yeah, those are the people too that like everybody's got something going on in there, and I can completely understand. Even the
Yeah.
people that may not have been in the loop or been on social media or seen anything on YouTube, those people, and I'm even speaking about, probably more prominently to me is the people that never met me, maybe fans or maybe people
Mm,
that just came across in the Explore that weren't in the business. They're just people that are probably
yeah,
dealing with a lot more than you and I and dealing with,
sure.
the financial stuff, home stuff, family stuff, their own personal stuff they're going through. But to send me a message and say, "Hey, man, I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for you. I'm thinking about you," and that's cool. Even to take the
Sure.
5 seconds to send the message
Yeah.
is a big deal to me. And I try to respond, and I have responded to almost every single one of them. Um, there are some that said that, and then they'll hit the return key a couple times, new paragraph. Hey, by the way, here's my address if you can send me a signed autograph. So that's
Yeah, well, you'll have that, I guess.
oh, I threw all my 8x10s out when I lived in Georgia before we moved. Like I'm never gonna need these again. So
Oh, that's funny.
So I do want people, since you said going back to you, I do want people to definitely check out your YouTube channel, Big Mike Behrens. You got lots of informational stuff. We talk about a lot of great things where we talk about we want to take a one-on-one approach to a lot of stuff we do here on the Big Fitness Show and across our brands. You're going to have some excellent stuff, especially when it comes to supplements, which I believe there's so much information that needs to be put out there that's accurate. There's so much information, and I think you should do it on each and every ingredient. And some of the stuff it needs an explanation. Kind of going back to what you said before, where I assumed proprietary blend was a way of hiding something
Sure,
deceptive, which
sure.
which I'm sure some companies do. But
Yes.
you
Yep.
explained the proprietary blend also is a way to protect their intellectual property.
Yep.
Am I off
Exactly.
base? Is that what you said about that?
No, yeah, I mean it's spot on. And in the supplement world, there's such there's so much misinformation out there, and I don't claim to know everything about supplements, but I know enough for the average person, for the beginner. Like there's a lot more in depth that you can get with it, but my goal is to try to educate as many people about supplements and help them understand what they need, what they don't need, why they work, why they don't work, what to look for, what not, what to avoid, all this kind of stuff. And so yeah, there's a lot. So if everybody, if you want to check out my channel, please do. At Big Mike Behrens YouTube, and going to just be putting up more information and more content to try to further both of what we're doing as far as just helping people live healthier every single day, because there's so many things that uh people can do to live healthier, and it's simple things that are just easy, that are simple, maybe not easy, some of them are hard to do, but simple things that you can do every day to live healthier. And it's about knowing and getting the information. And a lot of people don't have that information, or they get the wrong information. And so I'm going to do my best, and I know you do your best always, to try to bring as truthful as information as we know it to be true, as we can. So I won't be making anything up.
Yeah, whatever. Just following the fitness and supplement industry, anything we say today in 2 months might change according to the experts. So
Yeah,
always
yeah.
change.
Eggs are apparently bad for you now, I guess.
Bad for the pocketbook, from what I hear.
Yeah,
Um,
they were for a little while. Yeah.
it's and just to kind of touch on that point once again, getting back to what happened with me and continues. I continue to have to deal with it. Yeah, I was careful about what I put in my body before, but now
Mm,
even thinking about a cheat meal here and there, going out getting pizza, I got to think about not only how it's going to make me feel lethargic, but how's it going to make me feel as far as, I don't know, just in general, cholesterol and other
sure.
things and other blood markers that, I have to be really, really hyper vigilant now with all that stuff. So, and I don't want to go back to being 250. I want to stay medium. So I may go,
Okay.
want to stay under 200 pounds. Although I got really skinny, but I kind of like the fact that I had abs again. I was really happy about that. You claim I had them before, but I really didn't.
That's funny. Well, hey, you
Wasn't
stay
all muscle.
medium and then I'll just get bigger. Like I'm trying to get bigger right now. So then it'll compensate. We can still call ourselves the big. I'll get XL, you stay medium, and we can still be the big fitness.
Anyway, the bell curve, it'll average out to still be big, right?
Yeah,
Either
it's
way.
perfect.
There we go. Cool, man. Well, I do appreciate it. Once again, I'll say you'll get mad. I apologize for the gap between episodes 6 and 7 to you and everybody else out there, because I know what it's like. You get content you really enjoy, you want to consume, and it's part of your day or your week, and then it's not there. So we want to be there for you from now on and give you the information. And this is just kind of more of a house cleaning episode, but it gives people an idea on where we were and where we plan on going.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us and coming back, everybody that comes back and go back and check out the previous episodes. I think there's some good stuff there, and we got more good stuff coming for you in the future. We got plenty of ideas and topics and things that we're going to talk about. And Steve, can give us updates on his health journey as well. I promise it won't just be that, but there will be plenty of other information as well. And we can keep tabs on our buddy and keep him motivated to keep going and give him accountability on the weekly episodes too, maybe.
And one thing we have to do is we have to get the you made good thumbnails for all the episodes where I was just doing the black one, with the our avatars, but we definitely have to go. Actually, I'll get something real quick and that'll make the thumbnail. I'll let you start closing us out. Okay.
Oh, great. All right. Well, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in this week. We are back with the Big Fitness Show. We will continue to put out weekly episodes on the YouTube channel, on the podcast feed. So subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Check out Big Stevie actually Stevie Richards Fitness on YouTube. Check out Big Mike Behrens on YouTube, and check the links in the description to learn more on how you can support the show. And Stevie is back to wrap us up with whatever he got. I don't know what he got.
You ready for the thumbnail? You want to get
Yeah.
shot?
Oh, that's perfect.
Ready?
Yeah, I'll pull it from the video feed.
Yeah. Got it.
All right. With that, everybody, that's it for this week's
episode. You'll
episode.
cry, right?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's very true. That's it for this week's episode. Appreciate you all for listening and tuning in. We're back. It's good to have you back, bud. And we'll see you all in the next episode.